Albert Einstein once opined, "How I wish there was somewhere that existed an island." Round 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics, we find ourselves at Belle Isle, a small island situated in the Detroit River with grand views of Detroit off in the background. It's home to an aquarium, a nature center, a conservatory, and perhaps antithetically, a 2.35-mile street circuit built at its westernmost end. As with most street circuits, the walls are close, the racing is tight, and the passing takes patience. And so it might take 60 minutes, but if you stick with us tonight, you'll get to see who indeed is wise and of goodwill. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth, as always, is Larry McLeod with Apex Racing TV's Dennis Branch, here to bring you all the best angles of our drivers trying to negotiate this very difficult venue. So, Larry, 3 weeks ago, we were at Sonoma, another circuit that takes an extreme amount of wisdom to win. And while perhaps our Pro Class winner was no surprise, we found that our Open Class winner might just have what it takes to repeat here at Belle Isle.
Yeah, this place is, you talked about the patience that it requires to make passing here. That's exactly what this is. And it is, in a way, a lot like Sonoma in that regards. That really does take a lot of setup. It's multiple corners. It's connected. There's really only about 2 clear passing spots going into 3 and then going into 7 at that carousel section. But otherwise, it's going to be a lot of maybe it's patience, or it's going to be a lot of over-aggression that might be able to pick up a spot, as we had seen when we ran the sports car series here just a few weeks ago as well. We saw a lot of really good passing and a lot of good action. So this certainly will be anything but a boring race. After all, it's our classic sprints. These are never boring races. I'm excited to see the talent on display here. In fact, I'm sitting on the infield. They probably get a picture of me somewhere in here. I'm sitting here reporting live from Belle Isle, as I do live just about 20 miles from there. So I'm excited to kind of be here for a home race.
Yeah, Larry, and you know, as you said, we were here just a couple weeks ago, watching and calling another one of the great Ricmotech series here from Belle Isle, and of course with those we had a number of different GT cars, and also what you found was, because of the major differences in speed, it made passing here very difficult. It also made race management very challenging. I think, as you find here with all of our drivers, and right now I believe we have 27 different MX-5 drivers that have come out for practice, as we're watching practice wind down here. We've got about 3 minutes left. You're going to find that maybe a few more passing opportunities. It makes for a very long run down to that heavy braking turn 3, as you mentioned, and also turn 7. But with some drivers that have the inclination to throw the elbows out from time to time, it should make for some very interesting racing here, because not only are the drivers going to be throwing the elbows out, as we just watched a few moments ago, these concrete walls that line this course always seem to be looming, within a couple inches of the doors here, and it really will make for a challenging evening, a challenging 60-minute sprint for all of these MX-5 drivers.
Yeah, those walls are very intimidating. When you're not hitting them, you're struggling to look around them. It creates a lot of blind spots, going down through turns 4 and 5 and 6. The exits are really all blind to the driver on the approach. So you'll sometimes be running and you'll hear a call, of a slow car on right. You're saying, well, will they still be in the right when I get there? Because I can't see around this next corner, which makes it that much more treacherous for a driver trying to really stick in traffic, knowing that something might be blocking the road ahead, like a Suez Canal cargo ship. Certainly easily impossible here at Belle Isle, but I think we've talked a lot about the track. Why don't we do our lap intro of the track and take a better look from behind the wheel?
Welcome, everyone, to Detroit Belle Isle Circuit, located right along the Detroit River here in beautiful Michigan. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around this incredible road course, one I like to refer to as the concrete jungle. As we head up the front straightaway, you'll notice our pit area to the right as we cross the stripe and head down into the very fast entry of Turn 1. hug right down to the bottom of that apex, and we're going to track out and set up that exit out of 2 because this is a fast one. We're going to track right out to the wall and pick up some speed to head down Central Avenue as we head to one of the biggest overtaking opportunities here at the course. That would be the entry of turn 3. Very heavy brake zone here as well. Want to carry as much speed through this apex as possible. This will lead us into the 4 through 6 complex, a very narrow section of the course. A lot of switchback here out of 4. We'll track right back to the right to set up our entry for 5. You'll notice a lot of undulation on the exits of these corners. And then back left here to set up our exit out of 6, which is even trickier. Track right out to the wall, pick up some good speed here as we head down to that beautiful Detroit skyline. You can see it off in the distance. Another very fast section of the course here. Second longest straightaway here at Belle Isle. Bringing us into the fountain section here. Very heavy brake zone. Another opportunity for overtaking coming into the fountain, but tough to overtake in the fountain section as we come through turn 9 and head up into the double lefts of turns 10 and 11. And then we'll get hard on the brakes here out of 11 to set up that entry into turn 12. Again, a lot of undulation, very difficult to get that throttle down out of 11 there. Heading down to turn 12, a bit of a blind entry and a blind exit as this tracks you right out to the wall here through 12, ultimately through 13, and then track out wide to head up this very fast straightaway here and back to the start-finish line out of turn 14. There you go. There is your track guide for the beautiful Detroit Belle Isle circuit. Thank you for being with us.
All right, and thanks to Kevin Ford for that lap of the beautiful Belle Isle course here out in suburban Detroit. And Larry, as we go into qualifying now with these single lap qualifying sessions here, 15 minutes in length, each driver gets 4 laps to put in their fast time and set the grid for today's 60-minute race. Couple of things that we noticed during the practice session today.
Yeah, if you look at some of the results in practice, we're used to seeing Elvis Rankin, and we're seeing Mike Dam be 2 of the quickest in there. But this time what we saw was a very quick John Allen. He seems to truly be a specialist here in this Miata. We've seen him run very strong. In fact, a couple of races he was even leading, and then we saw some issues with his fuel strategy, so we'll see if he's going to work that out. But he certainly looks to be on pace here just based on practice times. Mike Dam was struggling, I think, a little bit in practice, only 6th quickest. But the 2 names that pop up to me in this top group, they ran really well at Watkins Glen a few races back. That's Mitchell Peak and Zach Burke. Those guys both in the 43.4s. Very, very quick here. If they can stick together and they can be near the front of the pack, they can certainly be contenders towards the end of this race. But as always, I think Elvis Rankin is clearly one to watch. So there's going to be some really interesting battles in that top 6. Just look at the practice times. Allen's 0.3 ahead of everybody, but from Rankin in 2nd to Hartley in 7th, it covers just about 0.3 of a second. So really quick, really close there at the front.
All right, and as qualifying is ongoing here, real quick, let's take a look back, see where we were 3 weeks ago for round 4. Our drivers from the Classic Sprint Series were at Sonoma Raceway. Taking the win in the Pro class was Elvis Rankin, driving the number 1 car for the Apex Racing team. Finishing 2nd was Mike Dam in the Orion Racing number 93 machine, and then Zach Burke finishing 3rd in his Esports Racer number 13 machine. Again, that was our Pro class. In the Open class, we had taking the win Brennan Horan in the Esports Racer number 45, whereas Josh Soto, who has only been doing iRacing now for just about a year, and this is his first season with us here in the Classic Sprint Series in the number 07 machine. He finished 2nd after, I believe, taking the win rather commandingly at Mid-Ohio in round number 3. And then Jeffrey Cranston in the Cranny Customs number 97 machine finished in 3rd. So let's take a look at the points now as we have 4 rounds complete in the Pro class. Elvis Rankin is currently sitting atop the leaderboard with Mike Dam and John Allen running 2nd and 3rd, and right now only 1 point separates Dam and Allen. So if Allen can hold this field back, he did very well in practice today. that might give him the advantage and get him up towards the top of the leaderboard here in the pro class. Zach Burke in his Esport Racer machine was currently sitting 4th in the points in the pro class. In the open class, after 4 rounds, Josh Soto is currently your leader with 70 points. Brennan Horn, last winner that we had here, as I mentioned 3 weeks ago, 62 points. And then quite a bit back from there, driving the number 57 Frito Sport racing machine, Edgar Sancinelli with 44 points. Jeffrey Cranston just a few points back from there in 4th with 40 points.
Yeah, I expect a lot of tight racing, and this is the point of the season where really you need to start looking at the last 3 rounds here of how you're going to get points and how are you going to make sure that you don't lose a bad race. And Belle Isle's one of those places that could easily turn into a bad race for you, as we've talked about with the walls. We've talked about how difficult it is to pass. Qualifying does become extremely important at this. If you don't go out and get a couple of really good laps and really nail a flyer here, and if you're starting back in 8th through 10th, you're in the middle of this pack, it's going to be just brutal those opening laps, as people are going to be making dive bomb moves into 3, into 7, probably even into 11, 12, and 13 even to try and make passes. It's going to be tough if you're starting near that middle of the pack. You do want to start near the front. And already here qualifying, as everyone's got a lap in or 2, you've got Schwenke and Peak. Right now, your top 2, Rankin sitting in 3rd. So it's going to be tough. But as always, I think John Allen does not go out early in practice. He likes to wait until the bitter end. So we'll see where his time stacks up. He was at a 43.0 in practice earlier.
Yeah, and he's at a 43.66 now as he turns in, I believe, his first qualifying lap. That's good for 3rd in the pro class, about 3,600 back from our leader. And a bit of a surprise right now, our points leader, Elvis Rankin, 4th fastest, but we've seen him pull out some very quick times, usually on lap number 4. So we'll see how that Apex Racing Team machine does as we're now following Elvis around here on track.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see how well he can do if he can go a little quicker on his next lap. Everyone's very tight, though. You look at those times now with Schwenke and Mitchell Peak there in 2nd. Going to be very, very tight here right now. Everyone, you can see the top 7 or so in the 43s already. So that's it's very quick, even a little quicker for some of them than they had been in practice.
Yeah, and this is something that as we watch Elvis Rankin make his way around this 2.3 mile course that Kevin Ford brought up in the track guide is that the track surface here has a number of undulations coming out of some of the corners, and I believe turn 6 in particular, where it can really upset a car quite a bit here. That this track is built on the regular streets that circulate around Belle Isle. It is not a purpose-built race course, and a lot of we'll say character to the pavement here. As you see here, we have a lot of different changes in pavement types and lots of different patches that have been laid down over the years that can definitely affect grip and the balance of the car.
Yeah, absolutely. This place is it's bumpy. It's like Michigan roads. It is just as bumpy and just not quite the big potholes, although they've had a few of those in the past as well. But it is not a smooth track, and there's a rhythm to it. Knowing exactly where those bumps are when you turn in to get the car to take the right set. And it takes a lot of practice around this place. There's really a lot of subtleties about going fast around this circuit. Not the easiest one in the schedule by any means.
All right, we're on board right now with Tom Rafferty in the number 41 machine. With probably the best livery of the night. And let's see, he is currently, Larry, I believe, Rafferty is on, trying to pick up which lap he is on, but he is currently sitting down in 10th.
Yeah, right now sitting in 10th. There's a good time put in there for Josh Soto. Now, you're look at that all the way up into the 44.0s. Very quick for him tonight.
And and maybe this is a surprise or not a surprise. We're on board now with Jake Gertzen, is that Josh Soto, again, our points leader in the open class, driving the number 07 machine, he is currently sitting not only atop the open class field, but currently in the top 10 overall, as he is currently running in 9th with a fast lap of a 1:44.08.
Yeah, he's been quick. We've seen him really running right there with the quote-unquote big boys in a lot of these races, showing he's got some serious game and why he's doing so well in the points as well. If he can get himself up into, like you just said, up into that overall top 10 in the front 5 rows, it puts a big gap between he and the rest of his class competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you watching at home, a couple quick notes. We keep referring to the pro class and the open class. The drivers in the pro class, you will notice that they have the black mirrors on those doors, whereas the open class have the red mirrors, as we just saw. So that is one thing to take a look at. And you'll also notice on our timing pylon, the positions are broken down in red and black there on the left side of the pylon, so you can tell the difference there. The black numbers are the pro class, the red are the open. And speaking of timing and scoring, you will see that we have a direct link to our timing and scoring page pinned to the comments here on this broadcast. So just scroll down a little bit, and you can pull that up in a separate browser window and follow along at all times. As we're on board now with the 101 car of John Allen, who
this should be his 4th lap too. This is his last chance, and currently only 6th on the grid. Like I said, he was quickest in practice. The quick times right now are 43.2 for Schwenke, and then it's Peak, and then Dam, Burke, Hartley, and then you get to Allen. Notice who's behind Allen already and done with his 4 laps is Elvis Rankin. So bit of a mix-up. Some folks are really qualifying well. Again, we saw Peak do really well in practice. He's up there again here with also with Zach Burke, his partner in crime there, currently 4th. So those guys right now sitting on the outsides of rows 1 and 2.
Oh no,
and
that might spell doom for John Allen there as the rear end steps out on him.
Yeah, that did not going to be quick here with that sort of big sidestep going into that little carousel section. Really, it probably catch a little bit of curb. You want to get on the gas early, but it might have gotten on the gas a little bit too early.
Too early.
This should be his last lap.
Yeah, he's got just a couple more corners to go here for qualifying. It looks as though the majority of our drivers have completed their 4 laps. We do still have about 3 minutes left in this qualifying session as John Allen now makes his way around.
Well, this will be interesting to see how aggressive Allen and Rankin are, knowing that they're back in 6th and 7th to start this race. We're used to seeing these guys up in the top 4. Usually the aggressive ones are going to be in that rows 4 and 5. These guys back in row 3 and 4, they might have to be a little aggressive depending on what's happening out in front of them. If everybody plays nice, then they can sit back. But if there's any aggression creating gaps and creating a breakaway, you're going to see John Allen and Elvis Rankin wanting to get a part of that breakaway.
And we're back on board here with Tony Kernan. He is on his very last lap, and he's got just one more corner to go as he comes now down on through. And Kernan turns a 1:44.03. That was the fastest of his 4 qualifying laps, but still only good enough for 8th.
Now looking down the list, the only drivers with any laps left, Edgar Sancinelli has only put in, looks like a 3rd lap. The rest of the field's pretty much got their 4, so this doing what Tony Kernan does, going out and get a few extra practice laps, might be good for him as well. We've seen him do well. We saw him in the sports car series here at this track just a few weeks ago, where he didn't qualify well, but we saw him race very well, and I believe, if I remember right, he ended up on a podium, if I recall.
I do believe so.
Yeah, so he had a very good night, so he might be trying to do the same thing here. You know, right now back in the, looks like 8th, just on the outside of row 4. He's got some work to do to get up there, but we've seen him be one of those late bloomers in these races, so maybe we'll see him do the same thing here tonight. Those walls right there coming out of 7, that outside wall kind of juts out at you, really just makes it intimidating. Again, the wall here through 8. Again, it's just everything's so intimidating. You just want to rub right up against that for maximum speed to carry through, but they will bite you if you rub them too hard.
Yeah, and you mentioned the limited sight lines. It was pretty clear to see as we take a look. Usually, as the cars are coming over towards us, that the concrete runs up almost to the top of the windshield on these cars. Certainly, much higher than eye level for these drivers. So, in many cases, very difficult to look through corners to see. To try and spot your exit points. You really have to take many of these corners on faith.
Yeah, you really do. And you're just listening to your spotter, hoping that you're getting a good call of what's happening out in front of you. That's what makes this play so tough. It's that trust. It also makes passing difficult because you don't really know what's around that next corner when you go to try to make that dive bomb move. It's going to be an interesting night.
All right, as we get ready now, let's see. We saw that Sancinelli had possibly not run all of his laps, and perhaps we had one other driver also that was down one lap, but make no difference now as qualifying has ended and our drivers are going to start to grid up. And so, Larry, why don't we run down the starting order here for everybody watching at home?
All right, so on the pole, taking might be his first pole of the season, Travis Schwenke will be on the inside of row 1. On the outside, the Canadian Mitchell Peak going to be making some moves tonight. On the inside in row 2, it's one of our wily veterans, Mike Dam. On the outside is Mitchell Peak's teammate there, Zach Burke, on the outside, right behind Mitchell on row 2. Row 3 is going to be Robert Hartley on the inside, one of our Miata specialists, and he'll be teamed up with John Allen on the outside. Row 4, Elvis Rankin, your points leader. He'll be alongside Tony Kernan. Row 5 is going to be Jake Gertson, and he's going to be alongside the open class leader, Josh Soto. Next row is going to be Jordy Fike on the inside and Tom Rafferty on the outside. Looking at row 7, Jeff Jacobs on the inside alongside David Payton in the D2D Esports. Next row, we have Greg Mack, an Esports racer, line up against Randall McGrew in the Genesis Sim Sports racing outfit. Next row will be also out of the open class, Brendan Horan. He'll be alongside Chris Thorman, another one of our D2D Esports drivers. Next row behind them, row 10, Edgar Sancinelli lined up with Danny McNulty. Row 11 will be Derek Holland and Jeff Cranston. Row 12, Greg Brockway and Michael Key. In row 13, Eric Klister, Patrick Preventis. And making up row 14 is going to be Stephen Brown, Indy Auto Sports. And there's your lineup, as we're going to have a very short pace lap and then right to the green flag.
Right to green. And, as we're watching this field and the way everything is gridded up here, Larry, of course, we do not split the grid between the pro class and the open class. So this is going to present a bit of a challenge for Brendan Horan, driver of the number 45 machine, as he is starting 17th overall, whereas Josh Soto, who is starting on the pole for the open class, is starting 10th overall. Of course, again, Horan was your winner 3 weeks ago for round 4 at Sonoma, and only a couple of points separating both Soto and Horan in the championship right now for the open class.
Yeah, the teams up here at the front of this start with the Esports racers on the one side. We got the Apex Racing on the other side, but then you've got a couple of Orion Racing there behind them. Going to be interesting how team works out here as we drop the green flag. Belle on.
All right, and they are coming around, and we are now green, and taking the point immediately at the drop of the green flag is the number 16 machine of Travis Schwenke. Still 2x2 back behind with Peak and Burke. Peak getting around Burke getting around Mike Dam. John Allen and Robert Hartley still going at it side by side as they come down the street. As a matter of fact, you can see now John Allen down the center, but 4 wide, Larry.
Something's got to give. Is it going to be sheet metal, or is it going to be a little bit of gentleman work? So far, so good through turn 3.
Looks like Rankin really had to check up there at the apex, Larry, as John Allen cut right across his nose.
Yeah, Allen wanted to be the aggressor here. He wants to make up spots, and he's done himself some good. He's up to 4th spot already. Still, though, Schwenke leading the pack by a lot. He's almost a second clear of Peak and Burke behind him.
There you go. We're watching Mike Dam right now in the 93 car. He got caught out. He dropped 2 spots as both Allen and Burke moved up through the order.
Elvis Rankin patiently sitting back there in 7th. He's going to have some work to do, though, as that gap has grown significantly to Travis Schwenke out in the lead.
Yeah, and you can see here he's side by side with Kernan and takes a whole lot of curb.
These guys now are starting to fight, which is just going to bring them further and further behind that pack's in front. But Elvis does not want to get stuck behind. He wants to set his own pace and try to catch that pack in front of him, and that's what he's able to do now. Going on to the second of our 2 back straights.
All right, and now taking the lead is Mitchell Peak. He gets around Travis Schwenke as we have a driver go around, and that
I think that's
driver,
right.
yeah, I believe it is. And does he get back underway? Looks like he's now gotten back underway.
Yeah, he got himself spun coming out of that carousel section. It tends to happen, and then he gets sort of stuck sideways and have to work your way out. But I think he might be back on the way now.
Yeah, we've got those 2 teammates sitting at the front of the field, Peak and Burke running 1st and 3rd respectively, with the 16 of Schwenke right behind as we watch Josh Soto, our open class leader, try to make his way through the field. Here he has held tight in 10th position, but it looks like he might be in line to pick up another position soon. Just a little bit back from Jake Bortson in the number 12 machine. Again, reminder that the drivers that have the black window mirror, or door mirrors, pardon me, are your pro class drivers. The drivers with the red mirrors are in the open class.
As we see one right there, and that's number 45, Brennan Horan. Middle of your shot there. We didn't see the front. We did see the pass. Schwenke had that early lead. It was 9/10 as they went into turn 7. Peak ends up passing him. I didn't quite see what happened. I'm guessing Schwenke may have been a bit of a slowdown to some of those corners, giving Peak a chance to catch him. Peak now up in front of this whole field, as behind Soto being the aggressor here.
Yeah, you can see as Soto, you can see the rear brakes already getting hot on that car as he gets around Jake Bortson, separating Bortson out from the rest of the pro class field as Robert Hartley just quite a bit further up the field. Now, Larry, we are talking about Rankin and biding his time, obviously not wanting to get separated out from the rest of the field, and that's why it was fairly important that he got around the number 7 car of Kernan. But, one of the things as we've watched here in the Classic Sprint Series that has worked out so well for Elvis Rankin is his pit strategy.
Yes.
When he is sitting here back in 7th position, and we're expecting these drivers to have to take at least one stop for fuel here over the course of the 60-minute race. Is there much room to play with, when you sit this far back in the field?
Absolutely. He can sit back here. As long as this front pack stays tight and he doesn't have to worry so much about losing a huge gap, he can sit back here, do some fuel saves, and make a very quick in and out. He could try undercutting the field. He can try to be the last man standing and taking the pit stop last. He's got options sitting back there. As long as that front 6, which he's now in the tail end of, as long as that 6 stays tight, then he can pull that off. If there's a breakaway top 3 and he's stuck behind them, now that strategy's out the window and you got to work harder to catch back up.
All right, and you can see here as we follow right behind Elvis Rankin, we've got Tony Kernan and Robert Hartley, the number 7 car, the number 3 car, trying to make their way into and make that lead pack of 6 a lead pack of 8. But still a couple car lengths to go there. All right, as we jump back in the field just a little bit in the battle, this is the battle, I believe, for 20th right now, and the battle for 4th in the open class with Jeffrey Cranston, Danny McNulty, Michael Key, and Derek Holland all in a row there.
Yeah, McNulty already showing a little bit of wall rub on the one side, the driver's side there. So he's already had his incident. Luckily, he's able to continue, but that's the way this place is. You want to rub that wall so much before it really just snaps you around, as we had seen with Ratchet earlier on, that these walls are not very forgiving. If we got a side-by-side now, looks like that.
This is the 64 and the 9 going side by side. This is the
Peyton and Fike.
Yeah, Fike and David Patton.
Yeah, and they're going to continue this all the way down this next straightaway, all the way into turn 3. And being on the inside is kind of critical here, but if you can get a nose ahead and be on the outside, you can force the issue, which in this case, the 64 Nathan starts to isn't able to finish it there.
Yeah, it goes and makes turns in very late, but from the outside, and gets a load of tire wall for his efforts. And that's going to drop him a number of positions. He's going to fall all the way back to 14th now. So Jordy Fike, who is sitting in 10th, running unopposed, at least for the moment. Let's take a look at the replay here as they come down now side by side, and then hard under braking.
Brakes pretty late. Not able to control the car quite enough turning in. It does, like you mentioned, get a little bit of the tire wall. Luckily able to continue, but that may slow the car down a little bit to see if he's able to stay on pace. We flash back up to Elvis Rankin now on the back of his former teammate Mike Dam, sitting here in 5th and 6th.
And we saw that Rankin, just before we saw that incident with Patton, as Rankin tried to come down the inside of Mike Dam to try and take up another position. Remember, Mike Dam now has lost multiple positions. Started in 3rd, he is now back to 5th. And Rankin, for a moment there, he was showing the nose, and unfortunately couldn't get it done as things closed down on him, and he's gotten back in line here. And you know, Larry, what we were talking about before, you know, with Rankin worried that battle, that 6-car battle for the lead, might turn into a 3-car battle, and he might be caught behind, be caught in a group that was losing pace with our leaders. And that's kind of turning out to be the case, at least a little bit right now, is John Allen, who's got Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin right behind, starting to lose touch with our 3 leaders at this point.
Well, what's happened here is we had Travis Schwenke on pole, which in the first 5 corners looked just unbeatable. As the cars came into their own, those teammates, those Canadian teammates there, Mitchell Peak and Zach Burke, have now moved to the front. They're starting to control this race. Schwenke's now a second behind them. But at least for Rankin, talking about him in that later pack, he's in a very formidable pack right now with Mike Dam and John Allen. Those 3 guys can stay with anybody, and they're going to catch Schwenke here already. They're going to try and get around Schwenke. If Schwenke's not having that pace that he had in qualifying, they're going to quickly try and dispatch him so they can stick with the teammates out front, Peak and Burke. That's the ones they're worried about, is those 2 teammates be able to work together up there and be able to maybe even bump draft if they stay close enough on some of these straightaways.
Yeah, we saw them work together at Watkins Glen, and you know, and actually that was not in the Classic Sprint Series. That was actually in the Sports Car Series. But you know, they will work very well together to separate themselves out from the field, and they know darn well not to start battling it out until you have maybe 3 to 4 minutes left to go in a race, and then it's you know, all men for themselves.
And they will be doing that very well. If you look in here at the Battle of McGrew, chasing down Mack and Fike just ahead. So those 3 extremely close now, coming through those opening S's through turns 1 and 2, heading down the straightaway to 3. We'll see if McGrew tries to make a pass here. Make an attempt on the outside. We saw this a minute ago.
Yeah, it didn't work so well for David Patton. I think one of the issues is that tire wall really just juts out into the track there, maybe a little bit earlier than the drivers would expect, but he makes it work. McGrew makes it through successfully, or at least he made that part of it work.
He made the corner, didn't make the pass, but he did stay on line, stay in the corner. Still, though, he's got, as you mentioned about David Payton, he's got him right behind him. So Payton did not lose much pace there, but he's keeping an eye on McGrew out in front of him. This battle is extremely tight as they go down. What's really the longest straightaway in the track here between turns 6 and 7 is winding 5-wide lane down there on the south side of the island.
Yeah, heading down Strand Drive over towards the fountain section. Now, as we are watching them, one of the things to notice here is that Greg Mack in the number 2 car, lots of issues for a couple corners there, going through both turn 5 and turn 6, ended up hitting the wall. Oh, as we've lost the 64 car, David Patton. Well, maybe haven't lost him. We can see him right there, but he's facing the wrong way.
Starting to wonder if he did the same thing here at 7. They did a couple laps ago at turn 3. You see him here. This is one of those corners you want to brake late, but not too late. Let's see what happens to him here. He's on that inside.
Yeah, and he's entering from almost the center of the track. Oh, very late move there to come underneath the other car. And
Greg Mack, yeah.
Luckily for Mack, and had to check up.
Yeah, luckily for Mack, he was not affected. It's like not impacted, but there was some impact, but not impacted by that and able to continue. It looked like there Peyton took himself out more than anything, but he's been able to resume once he found some clear track. As we are back on board with Jeff Jacobs and Brennan Horan right behind him trying to make a pass.
And stepping down to the inside there for just a moment, over at turn 3, and Horan gets back in line just a little bit too far back off the number 38 car to make a pass there.
He's trying, but as we've seen before, Jeff Jacobs drives a very wide car, even on Miata. Actually, I can tell you that this generation Miata, I haven't owned one. It's a very wide car. The car that I replaced, my mid-90s little subcompact, is so much skinnier than these Miatas. Miatas are relatively wide, but the way Jeff Jacobs drives it, it's very wide. And here you go, you got Schwenke now under fire from John Allen, and we mentioned Mike Dam and Elvis Rankin, and then you've got behind them Soto and Hartley, yep, they're right behind them as well. So this pack is just all over the back of Schwenke. Schwenke has lost pace from what he's been qualifying. He's holding these guys up, and Allen, we've seen, is a very aggressive driver. Allen will not stand for this. He knows that 3.5 seconds up the road is Peak and Burke. Those teammates are working well together. Allen and Dam Rankin have got to move now to get past Schwenke.
Yeah, and if you noticed, we had the shot here a few moments ago when Allen had first shown Schwenke the nose, and we thought maybe he was going to try and push on through. Rankin was at the tail end of that shot, and I don't know if Mike Dam was expecting it or not, but Elvis Rankin moved to the inside, took a slightly different line, and looked as though he might have, he thought for a moment that he might use the opportunity to pounce, as maybe the 93 car was maybe focusing a little bit too much on what John Allen was attempting just ahead of him. And even that time, you could see where the 93 of Dam now starting to take a slightly more defensive, takes an early turn into some of these corners, I think, to maybe try and hold off Rankin.
Yeah, he won't be able to hold off John Allen here as they come off of this turn 6. Allen gets any kind of a run and even gets a push behind from Mike Dam. You're going to see John Allen go right on by him into 7. Although Schwenke got himself a pretty solid draft, a pretty solid run there, not leading much for draft for John Allen. Schwenke might have been able to hold on for another couple of turns. He does. This is the difficulty of Belle Isle. This is why this place is so hard to pass. It seems as though Schwenke doesn't have the pace right now. Allen and Dam and Rankin and Kernod and Hartley and Soto, those guys have all behind him. But Schwenke right now is able to hold off as we have contact now.
Oh, yes,
Dam and Allen.
Contact with the 93 car going around with, and Dam now at a dead stop. It looks like he is now out. John Allen drops back a position. Hartley, Rankin, and Kernan definitely take advantage of this. Let's take a look at it again.
Dam looks like he just gets a little bit loose under the brakes and did not expect Allen to maybe check there, but that is a tight, it's almost a hairpin there. And Allen just goes halfway around. Mike Dam goes to the access road to do his turnaround. And that really puts a little bit further gap to Rankin and Soto and Hartley, who are back of that. Now those guys are 4 full seconds behind the Peak and Berg, actually 5 seconds with Peak and Berg, and about a second or so behind Travis Schwenke. This is let's not
forget Tony Kernan, who's been sitting in that black number 7 car right behind Elvis Rankin since almost the beginning of this race when Rankin overtook him on lap 1. And he is there in the fight as well, running in 5th right now. Has also made up, much like Rankin, 3 positions since the start of this race.
Yeah, he's doing a tremendous job. He knows this game is a long one. Still only a quarter of the way through. And you're just watching him stick to the back of Rankin and seeing how far those guys can push. If he can help Rankin move up and catch up to Schwenke again, it's not all lost yet for the lead. This thing's far from over. Good look in here on Brennan Horan. And again, still in this pack. Look at this pack. You got about 7 cars here. Starting all the way up with Jordy Fike, Greg Mack, and Jacobs, and Horn, Foreman, and McGrew. Mike Dam, this whole pack is about 4 seconds, covering about 6 drivers. Just blanketing each other here down the back straight, now into this sort of, I guess we'll call it the infield section.
Yeah, or the fountain section, turns 7 through 11 here as they make their way, not around, but alongside of Scott Fountain, pardon me, here over at Belle Isle.
Yep, now they'll turn down to the far western edge as they go along. If you look over the left shoulder and get a good view of the Windsor, Ontario skyline. Nice spring day here in Belle Isle. Oh, the rub of the wall back there. McGrew, I think it was.
Yeah, I think we're having trouble, Larry, finding drivers that still have all their livery intact on the doors here. Looks like most of our drivers have taken at least one swipe at the walls over the course of the last 15 minutes or so.
Horan wants by Jeff Jacobs in a bad way. Jacobs, though, as I mentioned, wide car. Horan's going to even try to dive to the inside. See if he can get him another braking.
And I think he's finally going to get it done here.
He's going to leave that door open now. But right behind him, it looks like it's going to be Chris Thorman trying to also get inside of Jacobs. Jacobs now with the inside going into turn 5. And McGrew right behind him saying, come on, guys, some block the track. I want to get through.
Yeah, you know, I've been watching McGrew, and he seems to pretty much always be in that position where he seems to have to hunt and try to pick a dancing partner. Does he go left or does he go right? And I think finally now, as the 38 car is losing some spots here, I think he's finally found an opening.
And they're going to go side by side through 7 though, unless somebody gives ground. Jacobs is not entirely, but I think he's just didn't quite able to hold on there as McGrew's able to take that spot. Great racing though for these guys. Speaking of great racing, look at these guys out in front. Mitchell Peak, Zach Burke working so well together. Schwenke able to maintain. He's still just about 4 seconds back. But Peak and Burke know this game needs to be just turn laps, put times in, and if they come on traffic, it's going to be dispatched that lap traffic quickly.
Exactly. All right, so we've got now just about 17 minutes out of this 1 hour in the books. And as we mentioned here, as our drivers, they're on lap 11.
We might be seeing a swap here.
Yeah, a little bit of a swap, a little bit of a change of position here, as at least for the time being, Zach Burke goes into the lead and Peak drops back into second. But they, Larry, they
coordinated very well.
Exactly.
Coordinated.
Yeah, it didn't look like they missed a beat there.
And these guys, when they go around this bend, they look to their left, they see their home country just over their shoulders. These guys are Canadians, not far from it. Detroit is an international city. These Canadians love coming across the border and driving around our tarmac, and these guys are doing a fantastic job. But Schwenke, for all his troubles he had earlier and kind of allowed this gap to happen, has maintained very well the last number of laps. But now Rankin is back onto Schwenke's heels. After all the incidents we've had, Rankin now going to try and push Schwenke as he can get up there. Does not want to let Burke and Peak get any further out.
And just behind him, Tony Kernan and Robert Hartley, as you saw here, running in 5th and 6th. Currently also working hard, as Hartley has been showing the nose just a little bit to the number 7 car. Not quite close enough at this point to affect the change. Maybe we'll see something next time they come down into turn 3 or turn 7.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if he tries to make a move. So we've got all kinds of moves now with Mike Dam trying to make his way back through this field. He's right on the heels of McNulty. Dicey there at the end of the back straight, going too wide into 7.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go to get back up. He's right in the middle of our open class runners, right behind the battle for 3rd in the open class. Actually, I guess he's sitting right behind.
But that's going to help a little bit as that slow down now for McNulty. Tapping the walls there. Coming out of turn 12. That might just give enough run for Mike Dam to get by him, but he's doing a good job of using all of the track, we'll say. I don't want to call it blocking, but he's using all that he's given, and now he's going to concede the spot.
And there we go, as Mike Dam gets by Danny McNulty. Finally, next on the board in the pro class, Mike Dam's going to have to get around both Jeffrey Cranston and Edgar Sancinelli to get to Jeff Jacobs in what is the battle for 13th now in the pro class.
Yeah, also, this battle up front with Hernan holding Hartley behind. These guys are able to they're about a second or so now behind Elvis Rankin, but Rankin is starting to catch Schwenke. And Schwenke is starting to catch Peak. So things are starting to tighten up in the front here a little bit. Schwenke's gotten into his groove. You can see now it's down to 3.2 seconds. It was at 3.9 a couple laps ago.
Yeah, they're definitely there. You can see the leaders and Travis Schwenke and Elvis Rankin in the same frame now, whereas you couldn't, you didn't see that a couple minutes ago. Definitely things are starting to tighten up just a little bit at the front of the field.
And I'm looking at the rub marks everybody's got in their left rear fender, probably coming off at turn 13.
13.
Yep. Of course, Hartley there has got some rubbing on the right side of his car as well. But definitely from those turn 13, easy for me to say, a lot of rubs going on. Even Elvis Rankin, who normally runs a pretty clean car, had a couple of rub marks there. Hartley here, though, he's trying to make a move on Kernan. Kernan's not letting it happen. He's got good pace coming off his early turns. This might be the section where Hartley's a little quicker. Just can't do anything with it. He's kind of stuck to the back of his bumper.
All right, and as we're now just about a little bit over 20 minutes into this 1 hour long race, let's run down, let you know where everybody stands. Again, your leader currently, Zach Burke with Mitchell Peak running in second, the two teammates there. Then we've got Schwenke third with Rankin running fourth in the Pro Class. Tony Kernan rounds out the top 5. In the Open Class, Josh Soto currently running 8th overall. That's up 2 positions from his start. He is your leader in the Open Class, with Brennan Horan currently running 12th overall, back in second with Edgar Sanchinelli and Jeff Cranston 3rd and 4th. Michael Key currently running 19th overall, rounds out the top 5 in the Open Class.
These guys are trying to stay tight, and that's where Hartley is being patient, seeing that Kernan's running some pretty good laps, still sticking in the back of Elvis Rankin. And Rankin, of course, just a half second or so behind Schwenke. But everyone's looking at that gap to the front, making sure that the Burke and Peak do not check out. So far, they're not able to. I would have thought those two would be able to do some bump drafting or some more of that swapping down the straightaways to sort of leapfrog a little bit, but not happening right now. It's been hovering around the 3.5 seconds, and Schwenke doing everything he can to stick with them. See if they do another swap or just stay in this order with Burke out in front.
Yeah, I think, you know, and they're running very similar times at this point. It was very difficult for me to see which of the two is the faster of the drivers. But the one thing, Larry, is I think they've started to pick up the pace just a little bit. They're a little bit off their fastest laps of the race, but last 2 laps or so, they've knocked about 1/10 to 2/10 off of what had been their standard pace, and you can see them starting to move away just a little bit from Schwenke. Of course, part of that might be because Schwenke considers himself under attack at this point.
Yeah, kind of under attack. I think he's under attack as long as he starts losing pace. But if he's able to maintain pace, I think Rankin is. We've seen his kind of youth not really coming through. He seems to be very kind of a wily veteran for a young man to know when it's time to attack and when it's not. Right now, as long as Schwenke maintains that good pace, he's not going to attack because he needs to keep the gap and have a shot during a pit exchange to maybe take the lead. So Rankin playing very smart right now, not pushing the issue, staying just close enough in case any mistakes are made by Schwenke, but not going to try and make a move. The question to become is, does the same patience sit in the hands of Kernan and Hartley behind him, and all these guys just sort of play nice, or does somebody want to upset the apple cart a little bit?
So last week here at Belle Isle, in the Ricmotech Sports Car Series, we saw Elvis Rankin take a very early pit stop. If he stays and cannot seem to get around Travis Schwenke, would you expect, as that pit window is really just opened up, would you think that he might just bring the car in early and try to leapfrog him in the pits now, or try to run down that fuel load?
I suspect probably to run down the fuel load, because the pace he's running right now is pretty good. As long as you're running good pace, you just stay out there. If you ever feel like you're being held up, that's the good time to really pull that undercut and see if you can come out through that exchange. The risk doing it too early is you get stuck in lap traffic, and now your pace just gets off as you're stuck behind somebody. And this place being so difficult to pass, even through lap traffic, is extremely difficult.
All right, Larry, as we're now just about 25 minutes, a little bit under halfway through this 60-minute race. Let's take a quick break. Go thank some of our great sponsors here of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. Easy for me to say. We'll be back with you in just a few moments.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts, support from experts that love sim racing, trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And we're back with the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. See, Larry, I can say all that in one breath. And, you know, not all that much has changed, Larry, in 2 minutes or so up at the front of the field. But let's jump and look at this battle right now with Greg Mack and Jordy Fike as they were now just side by side going in. And they've been going at it for about 15 minutes, and they've got the 45 of Brennan Horan, who's currently running second in the open class, tailing right behind him.
Yeah, and these guys are also teammates, even though they run in the different classes, so they're going to work pretty well together. But we talked about doing undercuts or overcuts, and what happened here, it looks as though Elvis Rankin's going to try a bit of an undercut.
Yeah, and so Rankin now down the pit lane into the pits. And again, what we do for Belle Isle is we fill these cars up to about 45% of their fuel capacity to ensure that they can't run an entire race on one tank of fuel. And so this looks like it's probably going to be a decent-sized fuel fill for Rankin. Again, we figured that the fuel window here would be somewhere between 13 laps and 21 laps, and so you know Rankin's he's right in the middle of that window.
Yeah, I'm thinking the only thought might be is come in now and do this, and he thinks probably his pace could be a touch better than it was behind Schwenke, might be his thought, and that's why he's going to make that move. As Jacobs and Thorman are having themselves a little battle here through turns 3, 4, and 5. But yeah, I think for Rankin, maybe now is the time. You're about the halfway point. Get out of that traffic. Be able to set your own pace. The only risk that I mentioned before is, do you come out into lap traffic, and now you got to fight your way through it. Every time you do, you're costing yourself a half a second or more on each of those laps.
There you go. And Rankin is back out on track now. He comes out in 15th position overall, right behind Edgar Zancinelli in the number 57 car. And you can see here,
but
he's got
track.
Open track.
Yep,
exactly.
Clear track. That's perfect. I don't know if he's got a spotter working with him. If he does, he's got to buy that guy a beer when he's old enough to drink. But he definitely has got himself a good track position right now with no lap track in front of him. And now the leaders, both pitting at the same time, are Burke and Peak. You can see almost side by side down pit lane.
Yeah, we'll see. We ran into a couple of weeks ago where two drivers had issues getting into the pit lane together. That one of the drivers actually had gotten, and I think it might have been Pete got blocked going into the pit lane by a slower car. But again, our leaders now pull into the pits, and we'll see if they come out together. I would suspect they do. Do not believe that. Don't believe that Elvis Rankin took any tires. And as we watch the pit stops here for both Peak and Burke, they are now heading on their way down and back out on track almost at exactly the same time.
Yeah, that everybody pretty close on pit time. Looking at everybody really very, very close. Rankin might have had a slight advantage, so we'll see if that helps him in any way. although he does come out just behind Zach Burke. So he does make up a couple seconds there, as he was about 4 or 5. Now he's down to just about 3. And Peak must have had some issues, because he's definitely down a bunch. I'm wondering if Peak had maybe taken tires.
It's a possibility. Let's take a look here as Burke had a pit time of 25.6 seconds and Peak at a 27.72. So, for 2 extra seconds, I think that's probably a little short to be taking a set of 2 tires, maybe just overfilled with slightly different fuel fill.
Maybe something, yeah, but to be 10 seconds down from your teammate there when you came in exact same time definitely hurt him a little bit. Tony Kernan here, now we got the camera on him. His pace is off a little bit now that he's not following Elvis Rankin around there. Maybe doesn't have those good marks out in front of him, as he's fallen a little bit further. Now, of course, he resumes the lead here as Schwenke had just pit. All right, so are we still on the air? All right, so there may be a frozen screen that you guys can see. We will walk you through what's going on as we've got right in the middle of all these pit exchanges. We're going to give this a minute as we'll get our technical difficulties straightened out. We'll just kind of walk you through like a radio call here.
Yeah,
as,
exactly.
Kernan has resumed the lead with Schwenke and now Hartley also around him have pit. John Allen has stayed out. Allen now just about 3 seconds behind Kernan. So those guys will be sitting 1-2 once this pit exchange goes around. But kind of keeping an eye on where Rankin came out. Now, again, about 2.5 seconds behind Zach Burke. Mitchell Peak, about 10 seconds behind them. So,
yeah.
Not so good there.
Peak's got he's got a lot of traffic to make his way through. Peak's got Cranston, Hartley, and Schwenke ahead of him. Schwenke now looks to be along the lines of about 5 seconds ahead of Peak on track currently.
I tell you what, though, it might have been the best time to pit if you're Travis Schwenke, because I'm watching now Tony Kernan. He's catching lap traffic, and he is struggling through some of this lap traffic. So getting out of this and taking on your fuel stop might have been the better choice for Schwenke. So we'll see if Kernan comes in now and where he comes out. He is heading in to the pits now. So Kernan,
let's see if John Allen comes in with him, because John Allen stays out. Allen had some of that slower traffic ahead of him as well that he's got to try and work his way through.
We've seen Allen do this before, try to be the last one to pit. So I'm wondering if that's his same strategy, is run the fuel dry and then come in for a splash and go at the end. But he's going to be fighting the traffic. I think it's going to hurt him.
All right, so as we have Kernan now in the pits, and Josh Soto, who is our open class leader, he takes to the pit lane as well. That's going to move Brennan Horan up into the lead in the open class. Horan has not taken a pit stop yet, so let's go and we'll reset the field here really quick. In the lead right now, John Allen with Greg Mack in the number 2 machine, now sitting in second with Jordy Fike in the 09 running in third. Then Brennan Horan, our open class leader, is currently 4th with Chris Thorman. Zach Burke, Elvis Rankin is currently sitting in 6th.
And those are the guys kind of keeping an eye on. They're the presumed leaders of those, certainly the leaders of those who have stopped. John Allen will be the wild card here, as we expect him to kind of be a little later to take his tires. And we've got Greg Mack still out there with Jordy Fike right on his tail. These guys, they were down quite a bit from those leaders when these pits all started, but right now Allen, Mack, Fike, Horan, Thorman, and then Burke and Rankin, your top 6.
We're on board now watching the number 2 car of Greg Mack. This is currently the battle for second. Again, neither Mack nor Fike nor Brennan Horan, again, all 3 teammates, none of those drivers have yet taken to the pits. The advantage that they have is, as you can see, they've got a lot of open track ahead of them. So perhaps, or as we hope you can see,
I think they can.
We're getting word now from race control that you should have the video feedback here. And now all 3 teammates take to the pit lane at one time. So Mack, Fike, Horan all drop into the pit lane, and we'll want to see where they come out, and want to see if Horan makes up any ground on Josh Soto in that battle for the lead in the open class, as John Allen continues his run out here. He has not taken to the pits as of yet. He is your leader, having started, I believe, in 6th position today.
Yeah, I think so, 5th or 6th, yeah. But he's running, but I'm looking at lap times. Again, with the traffic, he just got around a couple of cars there. Allen, though, ran a 44.5 to Zach Burke's 43.6, and Elvis Rankin's 43.9. So losing another half a second to his prime competitors right behind him. Allen's going to struggle to stay out in this lead unless somehow that Burke and Rankin can find some traffic behind him. Right now, Allen, he's got to find a lot of clean laps. He's got to see what he can do to try and build a lead before he stops, probably in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, and and it's surprising that he's running those times, that 144.5 that last time by for him. That is along the same lines of what Burke and Peak were running just before their pit stops a couple laps ago. You'd think that Allen, with a little bit less of a fuel load at this point, might be running slightly faster time.
Oh, and he's going to take to the pits. This is it
and here
for
he
John
comes.
Allen. Interesting.
Yeah, probably a combination of probably tire wear maybe impacting there. As Elvis Rankin now works his way up to 3rd, we're still showing Zach Burke. When he crosses the line, he will be your leader, but look at the separation now between Burke and Elvis Rankin. Only about 15, maybe 20 car lengths separating them. The last time by, though, Burke the faster of the two drivers by about 3/10. So we'll see if the 13 car, if the Canadian, can continue to stretch things out a little bit from Elvis Rankin. But now both of those drivers, our top 2 overall, with a lot of clear track ahead of them.
They do, and Rankin's got a lot of work cut out for him. He was able to get himself into this position by being patient early, but that same 3 seconds that he was down before the stops seems to be haunting him right now, and he's got no one around him to help him. So behind him, though, Schwenke, who had the lead there during the finish changes for a little bit, he's now back in his 3rd place position where he was before all this started, and he's now got a very fast Robert Hartley behind him. Hartley trying to get himself into a provisional podium spot. Hartley definitely has had his ups and downs in this race, got some rubbing around that car, but right now sitting in 4th, solid, with John Allen about 2.5 seconds behind him. So that's where Allen comes out of these stops, comes out in 5th, just ahead of Mitchell Peak, who, if you recall, was essentially the leader between he and Zach Burke. Peak definitely struggled with his stop somehow, now in 11 seconds back in 6th spot. Down the order a little bit, Brendan Horan running there in 2nd spot in the open class, though he's quite a bit down from Josh Soto, but he's going to be making his way through, came out of the pits, still behind Jordy Fike, his teammate, which helps him.
I was going to say, Horan has made up a ton of ground on Josh Soto at this point. Remember that there were almost, I believe there were 7 cars separating those two drivers at the start of this race. Soto started in 10th. Horn, I believe, started 17th, and currently just Jordy Fike and Jake Gordson in the pro class separate Soto from Horn. So
it's a couple of positions, which is good, but it's also unfortunately about 20 seconds that he's got to make up. But he's definitely got only a couple of positions down, which is good for him. As we've got John Allen now kind of slipping and sliding with Mitchell Peak behind him, and Peak is flying right now.
Yeah, not only is he flying, but the car, he's not throwing the car around nearly as much as it appears John Allen is. Yeah. That perhaps that issue with as we talked about Allen not carrying the pace we would have expected before the pit stops. Maybe he really has run his tires off kind of early here as he was trying to stay up with our lead packs.
It's very possible as we flash back over to this Schwenke and Hartley battle here for 3rd. These guys may be teammates, but at some point, as we always say, the teammate thing kind of gets thrown out the window. As Thorman making a move now on McGrew. Side by side through 3. They're going to do it again through 4. Nope, Thorman's going to back down, give McGrew a spot, and say, I'll get you on the back straight.
And this is the battle for 11th in the pro class.
I do suspect Thorman's going to set him up if he can get a good run off of 6th. Just hook the line, hook your winch to the back of the car in front and drive that draft. See if he can get himself alongside here going into 7th.
And as you said, this is the longest straight. A couple little bends in it, but definitely the longest.
He's going to push him. He's going to push him down the inside. Not able to take the position.
Nope.
They're driving from the Brew there to hold on to that spot. The Brew this car has seen a better day, but he's still rolling.
And it looks like both Allen and Peak are making up ground, coming right up towards Schwenke and Hartley. Maybe a four-car battle for third here soon enough.
Yeah, they're definitely gaining on this pretty quickly. As Allen seemed to have gotten his game on, now running laps back into the mid-43s. Nearly at his best of the race there, trying to catch these guys in front of him. So we could have a four-way battle for third here in the next lap or so with 18 minutes left by the time he catches him.
Yeah, and you notice that maybe Peak has dropped off just a little bit, but maybe Allen right now running almost a full second faster than he was prior to the pit stops. Maybe he just needs that little push from behind in order to make the ground. And here he goes, shows the nose over to the number 3 car of Hartley. And he's going to try and sneak up. He's going to try and sneak up the inside. No, holds off as they go through as they make their way through the fountain section here, and then back for the short run down to turn 12.
He's doing everything. He's kind of showing him the kitchen sink at this point. Trying to spill his mirrors, get him to make a mistake, hoping he's driving in his mirrors, but doesn't appear to be. He seems to be very smooth under the pressure right now for Hartley.
And we jump back to that battle between McGrew and Thorman that just never seems to end here. And again, this is the battle for, I believe it's the battle for 11th in the pro class.
These guys have been going at it for quite a while. I don't think this one's going to end unless somebody ends up in a wall, but right now they are just pushing the walls everywhere they go. Just a little rubs here and there. Those left side mirrors, there'll be a lot of cars missing that when they come back into the pits at the end of this race. Look in here into one from the back of McGrew. Thorman chasing him down. Thorman trying to get a good run off 2 down this straightaway. This is long enough to get a draft and a pass. He's right under him. McGrew going to force him to the outside, though. Thorman's going to take it.
And now Thorman moves back over as he tries to hold the 60 car to the outside and under braking. Can he make it stick from the outside?
Does.
Yeah, good move there. Solid pass. Looks as though the 67 car, kind of had to check up a little bit post apex, but no contact, and great move there by the number 60 of Chris Thorman.
Absolutely, yeah. Good control there to hold the outside. Now he'll have to worry about defending down the next straightaway. But look at this, as we were looking at Allen trying to catch Schwenke. Now Hartley, all 3 of these guys are moving along pretty fast. I don't know if they're going to be able to make any ground up onto Rankin, but this foursome now with Mitchell Peak not too far behind are going to have a tough battle right up to the end.
Yeah, and Peak looked like he had dropped off for a lap or 2. Maybe he was trying to get the equipment cooled down just a little bit, maybe get the tires back underneath him, but appears to be back in the game.
These guys are just flying now as Allen gets a run off of 2, and he's going to try and pick up some draft from Schwenke, make the move on Hartley. He's going to let it stick. Hartley's going to fall in behind.
Yeah, I don't think Hartley had much of a chance there. Was caught to the inside, I think, a little bit too long. If he'd made a move back over towards the line maybe a little bit earlier, he might have had a chance to hold off John Allen, but now move John Allen up to 4th, move Hartley back to 5th.
Yeah, good move there for Allen. Again, maybe he's thinking his car is finally coming in to its own, as he's been very quick. But Schwenke, other than those couple of early laps, laps 2, 3, 4, where he kind of got the gap down to Burke and to Peak, Schwenke's been just solid the rest of this race. I think other than Elvis Rankin, who has done that leapfrog for pits, Schwenke's just been solid today.
Yeah, I was going to say, other than and unfortunately we didn't catch it, but whatever bobble he had on lap number 2 to drop him back a couple spots from the pole. Otherwise, I mean, he's been in, he's run a very strong race.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, between the three of them there, with Schwenke, Allen, Hartley, they're running the mid-43s, and even Elvis Rankin right now struggling a little bit for pace. They are catching. I don't know if there's enough time to catch Rankin, but they are definitely getting closer as Rankin's losing ground to Zach Burke, our leader. Zach running 44.1, you can see popping up there on the timer. Rankin 44.7. Schwenke, Allen, look at these guys. They're 8/10 quicker on their lap. So very, very fast times. Schwenke and Allen now just about 5 seconds behind Rankin. It's not out of the question they can catch Rankin here before the end of this race. Rankin might be doing some fuel save. Not sure. But I'll tell you what, Zach Burke has just owned this race. When they came out of the pit stops, no one's got his pace.
But as you saw there in that last shot, our leader, Zach Burke, starting to come up on some slower traffic. I guess probably the one advantage that he has here is that the field has really strung out and had a lot of open track here, much more so than before the drivers started taking to the pit lane. And it looks like if he can get around that one driver, he should be golden.
Allen's going to make a move. You can see it here. He's hungry. Yeah. He's going to go left. Unless he's given the inside. He's not. He's going to stay behind. Thinking the pace is good. Maybe he came off of that corner just a 10.5 back. Plenty of run to be able to make a move, deciding just to hang back another lap. Maybe watching that gap to Rankin kind of coming down and deciding not to push right now.
And going through that fountain section, if you can't get it done going into turn 7, really, really difficult with the triple apex left-hander there, and then the quick move to the right at turn 11. You're really, I don't want to say you're stuck having to wait until you get all the way down to turn 3 again, but probably best is looks like he might make a quick little run as they come up to start-finish, but he tucks back behind here as they go through turn 2, and now for that run down to turn 3.
Well, Allen better make a move, because if not, I think Hartley's going to make one. As Hartley now has a pretty good run off of 2, and these 3 are just a second covers all 3 of them, I think. Maybe even less.
Yeah, here comes Hartley. If he can pull to the inside, not quite close enough to get it done. And they're all going to stay in line as they go through turn 3. And if you noticed, right up ahead of this trio battling it out for third, Elvis Rankin seemingly having a little bit of trouble with that slower traffic up ahead of him. That Burke was able to make his way around Rankin, not having real good luck there. And might be bringing our second-place runner Rankin back to the rest of the field.
This might be. Rankin's got a bit of a buffer there, about 5 seconds, but all it takes is for one bad move around some lap cars, and this opens up. But right now, John Allen wants that third place, and he's at the inside going into turn 7, and he's going to take it.
And that was made pretty darn easy by Travis Schwenke. Did not put up much of a fight. Schwenke now takes over 4th position, and we'll see if Hartley now has designs on moving up and taking that 4th position from Travis Schwenke.
Yeah, you know, for John Allen, that's probably the right time, right place, because he's now starting to think about the finishing of this race. We got about 11 minutes left. John Allen needs more points, right? He comes into this race, I think, 2nd or 3rd in the points. Right, 2nd in points. He really wants to make sure he holds pace. And his chief rival, Elvis Rankin's already in front of him. He can't afford to be 2 spots behind him. So
and
John Allen.
Actually, let me correct that. Not 2nd, 3rd in points, but 1 point down for Mike Dam, who, of course, had the huge spin earlier today. So I guess we'll move him up to 2nd.
Yeah, so John Allen looking to get good points for this, but he knew that he needed to get around Schwenke to do it. And I think he was feeling his pace was being held up a little bit by Schwenke, as Allen now 7/10 or so ahead of Schwenke. We'll see if he's able to hold on to that. But Schwenke, Hartley, and as you mentioned, Mike Dam just not having the race that he wanted after that incident earlier. So unfortunately, he's out of this race, not going to get any points here tonight. I don't know that he's going to be about the top 2.
The never-ending battle for what was the battle for 11th. Now in class, it is the battle for 10th in the pro class between Chris Thorman and Randall McGrew.
Yeah, these guys have swapped positions about 4 or 5 times on us, and it may be happening again as McGrew gets a great run on Gorman going out of turn 2. Almost may have had to check up a little bit, his run was so good.
And you know, if they stopped fighting with one another, they could probably get Jeff Jacobs also. But there you go, side by side as they come through turn 7 there.
Yeah, Jacobs is not far ahead from these guys by any means. He may be Jacobs there, I should say, that is the 44 of the lap car of Policer, I think, is the next, or 43. Sorry, that's the 43 in front of them. But yeah, they've got to catch up to him and maybe make that pass, but this battle's not going to end anytime soon.
John Allen starting to separate himself out a little bit from Schwenke. I wouldn't say he's broken the draft yet, but let's see what he's doing in comparison to Elvis Rankin. That last time by John Allen, almost a half second faster than Elvis Rankin. Rankin with a 144.4, Allen with a 140. We'll call it a 144 even there. So again, about a half a second.
Yeah, he's picking up a little bit. He's just going to run out of time, I think, to do it. So Allen, he's got to really push, but I think Elvis has that opportunity to work his way through traffic as he needs to hold the second spot. Again, he's also thinking about points at this point and saying, I just got to get a second here, stay ahead of Chief Rivals, which Mike Dam's already out, and John Allen's already behind him. Elvis can do really well on points with this type of finish. He knows he just kind of has to hang on to this spot, save the tires for the end, don't do anything crazy. Whereas John Allen, he needed to get past Schwenke. He's done that. Now he's going to hold Schwenke behind him to hold that third spot for John Allen. Flashback here to Cranston and Rathke. We saw Rathke early on, the first lap, have an incident there at turn 11. He's got his race on here. He and Cranston battling it out.
All right, let's jump back up to our leader, Zach Burke, as we have now just about 7 minutes left to go in this 1 hour long sprint battle of the Classic Sprint Series. And he's got a lot of free track ahead of him here as we finally see Elvis Rankin come into view. The separation now just about a little bit over 4 seconds now, separating our leaders, and then another about 4.4 seconds back to John Allen in third.
You know what I see about Zach Burke's car that nobody else seems to have? It's clean. Yes, everybody else seems to have some rub marks on it. John Allen's is pretty clean, but everybody else definitely got some door dings here and there. Zach Burke's car looks like it just rolled onto the track, you know, for the start of this race. He has been nothing but just super clean, had that swapping position with his teammate Mitchell Peak early in this race, but Zach has just sort of owned it now, and assuming he took on enough fuel, he just has to pick his spots around lap traffic and keep that car clean. But we saw him in practice. He had a lot of good pace there, and he's shown that pace wasn't just a practice time. It was good race pace too. Flashback here to Schwenke trying to keep with Allen. These guys are moving good, putting in some decent laps, but not really making the ground on Rankin to have any shot there at second. But I think Schwenke may be thinking he's got one more opportunity in the next couple laps here to make a pass as we're coming up to the 55 minutes, so just over 5 minutes to go. Should be about 3 laps.
You know, and I've been doing the mental machinations in my head here, Larry.
Wow, that's painful to say.
Looking at the points. I mean, if anybody wants to, if anybody wonders what the big cloud of smoke is right now over Charlotte, North Carolina, it's me trying to add numbers.
You've filled that closet with smoke, haven't you?
Yeah, yes, I have. Yes, I have, Larry. So I said earlier that I thought that this would move John Allen up to second in the points after this week. I completely forgot about our leader, Zach Burke, who was sitting in 4th in the points, just 1 point back from John Allen after 4 rounds. And I believe that after this week, that should move Zach Burke ahead of John Allen. Of course, you get bonus points for leading races,
which they've each led a lap in this race.
Yeah, they certainly have. So, at this point, I'm looking at a base of 136 points for Zach Burke, 132 for John Allen, and you get bonus points for 0 to 6 incident points as well. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Zach Burke. So let's put him at 137. I don't know for sure, John Allen.
I would say John Allen probably also less than 6 at this point. The car looks awfully clean.
Yeah.
So I think from bonus point standpoint, they're probably going to match each other, but the difference is going to be Zach Burke getting those extra points for a first place over a third place. That should, like you said, should be good enough to leapfrog, get himself up into the top 3. And Elvis Rankin's still up at the top. But Mike Dan, kind of a guy who loses out here tonight.
Certainly does.
Yeah, we talked about it in the onset about this is that moment of the season now. We're at round 5 out of 7, I think. And this is the point where you got to start counting points. You start thinking about where do I shuffle in? Where do I need to pick up points? And Zach Burke doing everything he can to get max points for himself tonight. John Allen preserving points. Elvis Rankin appears to be preserving points. And those guys doing what it takes. And Mike Dam, unfortunately, is going to have to wait until the next round to get any more points. And Allen pulling away from Schwenke and Hartley.
He separated himself out just a little bit there, about a full second now, separating the 101 car of Allen from driver Schwenke's number 16. May have just gotten out of the draft as we see some tire smoke or some brake smoke from Elvis Rankin as he comes through turn 7.
And he's got a little rub there in that left rear fender as well, either from the outside of 6 or the outside of 13. But he's definitely showing a little bit of wear on that car. So not the usual precision we've seen from Elvis Rankin tonight, but he is managing well. He's managing the race. And that's what you expect your points leader to be doing, knowing that he's just got to accumulate points to try to win a championship. Oh, there's a big rub from Rankin. There goes the left side mirror.
There goes the mirror.
And we'll see if that changes the handling at all, because that can mix it up. Although we're probably only going to have about 2 laps to go. If that starts really off his pace, it's only about 2 seconds to John Allen. This could shake things up if Elvis Rankin has lost any handling in that car.
And Rankin also coming up on some slower traffic, coming up on that number 25 car. Just ahead of him, that is Danny McNulty in the open class. I don't know if that's going to make much of a difference here, but as you said, probably just about 2 laps to go, as we're now under 2 minutes remaining in this 60-minute sprint race here from Belle Isle.
We'll see if he's got any handling issues from that. That was a pretty hard impact there, that wall that juts out at you in turn 7 for Elvis Rankin. And just kind of keeping an eye on John Allen. Gap hasn't changed much, so maybe Rankin able to continue without much interruption. Lucky for him, because that really could have been a lot worse.
All right, I've been watching this battle between Schwenke and Hartley, and as I have, at least for a moment there, I thought Mitchell Peak might have been moving up just a little bit, kind of getting into the battle, but again, about 10 laps ago, he just kind of dropped off and hasn't been able to get back into the battle here.
Yeah, unfortunately, just kind of lost that pace in the pit stops and haven't been able to kind of make up for it. Not going to end up in that top 5. So, but I think we have 1 more lap to go. I don't know that we had a white flag. As we are now inside the last minute of the clock. Chris Thorman and Randall McGrew still going at it. Thorman,
all right, so our leader now making his way. Looks like we may have one more lap possibly. Oh, no, I don't know if he can get there in 30 seconds. Yeah, as he is now coming around. Should be crossing the stripe here in a second.
It's going to be awfully close to whether he gets another lap.
Yeah, got about 14 seconds. Yeah, I think we're going to have one more lap to go here.
He's lost his left side mirror, by the way, so he has rubbed wall at some point.
Yeah, take away
one
those
more lap.
points. All right, so now crossing the stripe to start the final lap here from Belle Isle. Zach Burke. And lots of clear track ahead of him, and we'll see if Elvis Rankin comes into view. There he is some of that slower traffic that 45 car now, or probably the 25 car of McNulty, pulling over drivers left to let Elvis Rankin through. John Allen just not going to be quite close enough, I think, here to make a difference with just about 3/4 of the lap remaining.
Isn't going to be by much because they're within a second. Allen is at the back of the draft. I just don't think he's going to be close enough down the back straight to do anything about it.
And he does clear the 25 car. The 25 car lets him around.
See if he's able to catch a draft, as he's now just a little bit. Unfortunately, now he's about 1.1, 1.2 seconds. It may not be enough to do anything. Rankin sweating it out here in the last laps, trying to hang on to this second spot as Allen really pushing hard, Schwenke and Hartley behind. Still have a battle between them as the lap traffic kind of pulling aside to let it happen.
There you go. McNulty lets Schwenke and Hartley on through.
Oh, no, for Hartley.
Going into the wall. Hartley, Robert Hartley in the number 3 car.
Throwing away a top 5. And that's going to move Mitchell Peak up. Hartley able to continue. Maybe. The car looks a little bit ill for him, but yeah, that's going to put him way down now.
Yeah, he's got to be able to limp that home. A couple more corners here, but that is going to drop him all the way back as Zach Burke now coming across the line to take the win here in the Classic Sprint Series from Belle Isle. And
Great
John
win.
Allen, did John Allen get around? Let's take a look here.
He
It's
is.
Allen and Rankin side by side, and on the last lap, taking second place is John Allen in the number 101 machine. Move Rankin now back into third.
That's huge at the end for points for John Allen to be able to stay close with Zach Burke. Those guys might be in a tie at the end of this. We'll have to check the standings when we're all done, but great work there for John Allen to keep pushing and not letting sight get lost on that, to have a shot at that second step of the podium. A good finish from Allen as this battle now of McGrew and Thorman not over yet. Not over. There's no fat lady warming up the vocals. Thorman is trying to make one last dash move, maybe hoping McGrew rubs a wall. No rub wall there for McGrew.
No, not yet. But there's still so much time, or at least one more corner.
The corner, and unfortunately not enough for Thorman. McGrew is going to hang on to that 9th spot. Wow, so Burke, Allen, Rankin, your top 3, and then in the open class, Soto, Horan, and we're waiting to see if Sancinelli can come across the stripe, take 3rd there in the open class. And for Soto, another win in the open class. He's been really strong, our points leader so far, able to get another strong finish for Josh Soto.
All right.
Rankin ran out of fuel. That's what I was wondering, if his pace was down in that last 15 minutes, if he was trying his fuel save.
And there you go, as he gets the push from Josh Soto all the way back to the pits.
Yeah, he's helping him.
Yep, he's a trying. All right, and yes, crossing the line there, Edgar Sancinelli, he is going to take 3rd in the pro class. So with that, Larry, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and interview our winners here tonight. You are watching, or you have just watched, the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series round number 5, presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. Again, stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment to interview our winners. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Everybody, welcome back to the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. And Larry, an amazing race and a great finish here from Belle Isle. Let's take a listen now. We're going to bring in some of our winners and podium finishers here at Belle Isle. And let's start off with second place finisher in the pro class, John Allen.
All right, so what an exciting end to that race as we were watching John Allen now with us. John, congratulations on the second. It looks as though Elvis may have run out of fuel, but you were moving hard to make sure that that was an opportunity. Walk me through how that kind of went down for you.
This track famously, one of the probably the most notorious win I've had in this series was when Elvis and I came together maybe a third to half of the way through the race around pit stops, and I spun, did a 360 and continued, and ended up winning from 7 seconds back or something, passing the likes of Travis and Mike and Elvis. And however that happened, it gave me a lot of confidence here. And in practice, I was several tenths up on some folks, and then I screwed up my qualifying. Wasn't terribly concerned, although I worked hard to get a couple spots early at the risk of a 3 or 4 wide into 3. But then after, I don't know if it happened before the tap from Mike, but once I was kind of in that red mist zone looking for anything I could, I realized my pedal wasn't recognizing 100% throttle, probably 95 at best. And so I just, the red mist actually makes me faster, I guess.
Miatas don't have much horsepower, but they certainly don't help when you're only using 95% of them.
Well, I think honestly, I mean, some of the impatience that normally would cost time when driving angry here, trying to get off of these sharp corners was probably benefited by not having access to full throttle. So my min speed was really good. And, and once I could get in someone's draft, I could hold it. And if I was close enough, I could even use it. So like I said, it was maybe 95% throttle, but yeah, there's a lot of walls here and a lot of laps, and you just don't give up. And who knew that I'd have any crack at a podium, let alone the second step when Elvis needed one more corner of fuel.
Yeah, and after your sideways spin there, you're coming together with Mike Dam. We thought maybe things were lost there, but you kept pushing, kept prodding, kept clawing your way through, and even from the third step now to the second step of the podium, great finish for you. Good points result for you as well. So congratulations on that. Anybody you want to thank for tonight?
My wife first and foremost. We spent the whole weekend away at a real race weekend, and I come home and now I'm doing this when I'm sure she's wanting to just go to bed. So. I'm not far behind. I'm totally zonked, but that's how much I like running with these guys and what this series means to me, that it's worth skipping out on those couple hours to run every Monday if possible. So appreciate what you guys do for it too. You make it extra exciting to watch.
Well, thanks. It was exciting for sure tonight, and for you to get all the way up to the second place on the podium. A great finish for you, good points result, and definitely looking forward to see you in the next round.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
That's John Allen, finished second here tonight in the pro class.
All right, and next up, we've got Zach Burke, our winner in the pro class.
Zach Burke here with us. Zach, you walk me through a little bit of your race. We'd seen you kind of working really well with Mitchell for the first half, and then things kind of landed in your lap, and off you went. Walk me through some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get much practice for this week, so I didn't really know what to expect, but was just essentially taking notes the whole first stint and running with Mitch. I knew Mitch had really good pace here, so I was just trying to learn from him. And then he made a little mistake in the pit lane and cost him a bunch of time, and away I went.
Yeah, and you had some great pace after the pits. Were you even watching your relative, or just putting your head down and just taking off?
No, I was definitely watching there. The first 2 or 3 laps on cold tires are a little slow around here, so I was watching Elvis slowly claw back, and I was just hoping that he wasn't going to pull into the draft, but it was super, super close, but not quite. So.
Yeah, I was saying most of the way through the race, you had one of the cleanest cars out there, and then we went back to you right before the end, and your left side mirror was gone. So these walls, they do come out to bite, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Drove a little bit too deep into three there, one lap, and took off the mirror and had a little bit of a wake up call there. So I think Elvis came back about a second or more from that one mistake. So it was great that I was able to keep my head down after that and pull away.
Yeah, yeah, and that's always good to be able to kind of brush that thing off and kind of look around you, realize the race isn't over yet, and keep on going there. And a good points finish for you tonight as well. We were trying to add the points up there during the race, but you came into the race in fourth. A good finish like this, you might have gotten yourself up into second. So is this one of your favorite tracks? Be able to adapt so quickly?
No, I actually don't really like this track at all. It's it's kind of just fell into my lap today, so I'm gonna take it for sure.
Well, absolutely, yeah. You take a win when they come to you, whether they come often or not, and a well-deserved win though tonight for our overall winner in the pro class, Zach Burke. So congratulations. Anybody you want to thank tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank GB Consulting and Brennan Horn Photography. You can see their names on the side of the car. So
Absolutely. So yeah, well, congratulations again, and looking forward to seeing you in the next round.
thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, Zach. That's our winner, Zach Burke, winner overall tonight. And I think next we'll bring in from the open class, we'll bring in that aforementioned photographer who
Yeah, is
finished
that not a
second.
great segue
Yes,
or what?
absolutely. We're going to bring in Brendan Horan now as he finished second in the open class. There's Brennan. Hey, Brennan. Zach was just giving you a bit of a shout out there for helping him out in the photography and everything. So you managed to get up here into the interview booth because of your performance on track, coming home in second tonight in the open class. Walk me through a little bit of your race.
Well, first of all, big congrats to Zach and the whole team, Team Esport Racer. This is our first overall win in this series and almost a 1-2. Big step for us, but my race was a little bit busy. It didn't qualify too well and was kind of in the mid-pack mess for the first 20 minutes or so, but I had to pass a few people to catch my teammates, Greg and Jordy. And then after that, it was kind of smooth sailing, just us three.
Yeah, you guys seem to be working very well together as teammates there through the middle part of that race, and then you came out of the pits even with them. So was that the strategy to sort of stick to Jordy's bumper and just kind of see how close you guys could get to Josh, your chief rival?
Yeah, like you saw with Zach and Mitch, we just run really good with our own teammates here, and we were like 3 seconds fast. Well, not 3 seconds faster, but maybe a second faster a lap than the people behind us running together. So we just work really well. And then we pit together, and Mac had a spin, so it was just me and Jordy after that. And but yeah, no, it's good to drive with people that you know. It's a lot quicker, calms you down a little bit. You don't have to worry about somebody hitting you or something like that, because obviously you don't want to hit your teammate. So it was good.
Rule number one of team racing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so but a great job tonight in doing that. Strategy definitely paid off. Josh Soto, the winner in Open, has been just flying, but you managed to make up a lot of positions on him tonight. I think from your starting position up 7 to your finishing spot, so you managed to definitely claw your way through. Congratulations on that. So anybody you want to thank tonight for this podium finish?
Well, the team and Brockway for the setup. It was just perfect all week, and yesterday we made a couple of refinements, and I think that just gave me a bit more speed tonight. I know my other teammates were a bit faster than me, but this definitely brought me up a little bit. GB Consulting for the computing power for the analysis of the telemetry. You guys for the broadcast, Extreme for this series. It's just the most professional series I think in all of iRacing, and my family for supporting me and watching the race. And I hope they enjoyed it.
Well, absolutely. Hopefully they're going to enjoy you coming home in second here in the open class, but a well-deserved second spot there for you. So congratulations for that, and looking forward to see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, guys. Hope to see you too.
Thanks, Brendan. Their second spot in open here. And up next, we'll bring in the winner from the open class, Josh Soto. Josh, you kind of getting used to the top step of the podiums here. Congratulations on another win, and walk me through some of tonight.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, my strategy today was just try to endure the whatever happened ahead of me. Try to keep up with the pack and try to not hit the walls, because I'm not really used to tight tracks like this. So that's my main focus. Just try to keep it clean as possible.
Yeah, and that kind of strategy pays off around this place, because as we talked about it all night, how difficult these walls can be, and how how much they can ruin your race if you hit them a little bit too rough. But you've definitely shown some great pace in sticking with some key battles in there. But were you also watching your rivals to see and figure out where is Brennan and the other guys in the open class?
Oh yeah. Especially when I went into the pit. Fortunately, I was able to get a good pit strategy this time around. But yeah, I was definitely leery to see if someone was possibly close. Especially when I exited the pit, but I just try to keep my head down and just maintain my pace.
Yeah, well, it worked really well tonight, and this kind of track where you just don't want to get distracted by things and just run that pace. And again, this is now what I think your 4th win in 5 rounds, so kind of got a stranglehold here in the open class with just a couple rounds left to go, putting on a very strong performance and another win here tonight at Belle Isle. Anybody you want to thank for this tough win?
Oh yeah, I want to thank my my friends, my mom, dad, helping me, and I want to thank you guys for this awesome series. This is really cool for you guys. Have an open class and a pro class and stuff like that. It's a really cool series.
Yeah, it's one of the best. I love calling this races. I think it's exciting racing. I think it's great to have drivers like yourself putting on these kind of performances, and get to see how you got a couple more rounds to go to wrap up a championship here in the open class. But you're in good position for that. And another win here at Belle Isle. It's going to help your point standing. So congratulations tonight, and another good win for you. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
All right, and that was Josh Soto, our winner in the open class tonight. And Larry, some great racing this evening from Belle Isle.
Oh, absolutely. Just fantastic racing, a lot of good strategies, but a lot of good battles. This place, as difficult it is to pass, there's definitely a lot of side-by-side through some corners here and a lot of skill put on display tonight.
All right, and with that, let's take a look and see the next couple of races that we have across our 3 different Ricmotech series. Starting April 12th. Again, we're going to take next week off for Easter, but on April 12th, the Sports Car Series heads out to Sonoma Raceway for round number 5. Those are our GT4 and TCR cars, so you definitely don't want to miss that. In 3 weeks, the Ricmotech World Challenge heads out to Long Beach for round number 5. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Our LMP2 cars, the GTE and GT3 drivers, all going to be battling, well, pretty much to the death there in the walls that surround Long Beach. It should be great. And in 4 weeks, the Classic Sprint Series returns. They're going to have round number 6 at the House of Speed. It's Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, formerly Mosport, and it should be a blast. All right, so want to remind everybody, of course, you can find out about the series here, and if you like what you've seen, go ahead and like this video presentation. Make sure to subscribe to Apex Racing TV's YouTube channel and click that little notification bell, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining. For Larry McLeod, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you soon.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.